The room was alive with chaos. Evan sat in the middle of it, staring at screens that no longer obeyed him. The monitors flickered in wild patterns, cycling through red warnings, black static, and cruel messages typed out in glowing letters. "We own you. You are nothing. Goodbye, Evan." The words repeated, shifting fonts, colors, languages. It was like the machines themselves were laughing at him. He tried to type, his fingers trembling, but every command was rejected, every program shut down before it could even load. His once powerful system, the one he had built line by line, code by code, was now a cage. The hackers had locked him out of his own world. A chime cut through the noise. His bank account. Evan looked at the corner of the screen just in time to watch the numbers drain. Balance $32,740. Balance $4,500. Balance 0.0s. Then a message appeared. "Thanks for dinner." Evan slammed his fists against the desk. No, 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 no. But it wasn't just the money. He opened another window, desperate to check his research files, the project he had worked on for 3 years. Gone. Every folder was empty. Each file name replaced with a mocking tag, 404 LOL. His chest tightened. They hadn't just taken his future. They had erased his past. Then came the sound that froze him completely. A knock on the door. 3 sharp raps. He turned slowly toward it, his breath shallow. The apartment was on the 12th floor. No one visited him. Not anymore. Another chime. This one came from his phone. Evan picked it up and felt his blood run cold. A message from an unknown number. It read, "Open the door. It's the police." As if on cue, red and blue lights flashed across his window. He staggered to the balcony and looked down. Police drones hovered near the building, their lights cutting through the neon haze of the city. Their scanners swept the walls, locking onto his floor. The hackers had done it. They had planted evidence. They had sent the police after him. Evan's hands shook violently. He could almost hear the future. Handcuffs, prison cells, his name splashed across the feeds as a criminal. No trial, no chance to explain. Just ruin. "I can't fight this," he whispered, gripping the railing of the balcony. His voice was hollow, broken. Not anymore. Behind him, the knock came again. Louder this time. Evan turned back. His chest rose and fell like he had run a marathon. The door shook with the force of the knock. He wanted to scream, to run, but there was nowhere left to go. He crept closer, every step echoing in his ears. His mind raced through possibilities. If it was the police, they wouldn't knock. They would break the door down. If it was the hackers, they wouldn't come in person. They didn't need to. So who? He pressed his eye to the peephole and froze. A girl stood outside, young, maybe early 20s, her face half shadowed by the dim hall light. She wore a cap with a small logo and held a cardboard pizza box. Evan blinked. "What?" She knocked again, but this time it was lighter, almost casual. "Hey, pizza delivery!" His heart pounded harder. "Pizza?" He hadn't ordered anything. The hackers must be playing with him again. Maybe she was bait, a disguise. He backed away from the door, but then she tilted her head, looking at the peephole directly, as if she knew he was there. "Come on," she said, her voice calm. "I know you didn't order this, but I think you need it." Evan's blood chilled. How did she know that? Behind him, the screens flickered faster, filling the room with more taunts. "Open up, Evan. She can't help you. You are finished." He pressed his palms to his temples. His enemies were invisible, ruthless everywhere. The drones outside, the messages on his screens, the false evidence waiting to bury him. And now this. A stranger with a pizza box at his door. The girl knocked one last time. Not loud, not demanding. Just steady. Evan stood there, torn between fear and desperation. The city outside roared with engines, neon, and sirens. Inside the apartment was a collapsing world of screens and alarms. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and then, against all reason, he reached for the lock. The bolt slid open with a metallic click. The door creaked inch by inch until the girl's face appeared fully. She smiled, holding out the box as if nothing in the world was wrong. "Hi," she said simply. "I think you need this more than anyone." Evan stared at her. A delivery girl with a pizza he never ordered. Standing in the middle of the storm that had destroyed his life. For a long moment, neither of them moved. The neon city glowed behind him. The drones circled outside. The hackers whispered through every screen. And yet here she was, calm, ordinary, mysterious, undawadi. One thing he hadn't expected. The one thing the hackers could never have planned for: a knock at the door. A girl with a pizza box, and maybe the start of something they couldn't control. The apartment was still buzzing with alarms when Evan closed the door behind the delivery girl. For a moment, neither of them spoke. She stood in the middle of the wreckage, holding the warm box like it was the most natural thing in the world. Evan hovered near the door, tense, watching her every move. Her eyes moved across the room. Broken glass on the floor, the glow of dying monitors, a phone buzzing with cruel messages. She didn't flinch. She didn't ask what happened. She just set the pizza on the table, pulled out a chair and sat down. "You gonna join me?" she said, opening the box. "Or keep staring like I'm a ghost?" Evan's mouth was dry. His voice cracked when he finally spoke. I didn't order that." "I know," she said, pulling out a slice. "But you look like a guy who hasn't eaten in days." Evan swallowed hard. He hadn't. He tried to remember his last meal, but the memories blurred into endless nights of code and panic. The girl took a bite, chewing slowly, her eyes never leaving him. "What's your name?" He hesitated. "Evan, Maya," she said simply. Then she gestured toward the empty chair across from her. "Sit before you fall over." Evan moved like a sleepwalker, sinking into the chair. He didn't take a slice. His hands shook too much. Maya tilted her head, studying him. "You look like someone just killed your dog." Evan let out a bitter laugh. "Worse." He pointed at the nearest screen. It flickered with another cruel line. "We erased you." Maya read it once, then looked back at him. "Want to explain?" He hesitated. Part of him wanted to throw her out, to scream that she didn't understand, that this was none of her business. But another part, the part drowning in silence and fear, ached to tell someone. Anyone. "They've taken everything," he whispered. "My money, my work, my name. Even the police think I'm guilty now." "All because of them. Hackers?" she asked. He nodded, his shoulders sagging. "Not just hackers. A syndicate. They call themselves the GhostNet. They can get into anything, anyone. They don't just steal from you. They destroy you, bit by bit, until there's nothing left." Maya leaned back, arms crossed, pizza slice forgotten in her hand. "And why you? Why target you?" Evan's throat tightened. His eyes darted to the floor. "Because I was building something, a new kind of firewall, something that could have locked them out for good. They found out, and now," he stopped, his voice breaking. "Now it's all gone." The words hung heavy between them. Evan felt exposed, like he'd peeled back his skin for a stranger to see. But Maya didn't laugh. She didn't pity him. She just nodded slowly, as if she'd expected an answer like that. "You sound like a man at the end of his rope," she said quietly. "I am," he admitted. His hands curled into fists. "They're invisible, untouchable. You can't fight ghosts." For the first time, Maya smiled. Not a mocking smile, but sharp, knowing. Maybe not with code. But ghosts are still people, right? People with habits. People with weaknesses. Evan blinked at her. "You don't get it. These aren't street thugs. They're machines. They think faster than anyone. They can predict moves before you make them. You can't beat them." Her eyes narrowed slightly, a glint of challenge in them. "Machines? Nurse, they're just people hiding behind machines. And people are messy. People lie. They get scared. They want things. I've lived my whole life watching that. Learning it." Evan shook his head, exhaling a bitter laugh. "Reading people won't stop them from hacking into my DNA records or erasing my ID. Maybe not," she said, "but it might stop them from tricking you into walking into a trap. Like that fake drone outside your window." Evan's stomach dropped. He froze. "What did you say?" Maya leaned forward, elbows on the table. "The drone outside earlier. The one claiming to be police." Its voice was wrong. Too clean. Real police drones have distortion. That one didn't. It was fake. A scare tactic. His eyes widened. He hadn't noticed that. He hadn't even thought about it. "How did you—" She smirked. "Told you. I read people. And I read lies. Doesn't matter if they come from a mouth or a machine." Evan stared at her, a mix of disbelief and fragile hope flickering in his eyes. For weeks he had been spiraling, thinking the GhostNet was untouchable. But here was this stranger, sitting in his wrecked apartment with a pizza box, pointing out something he had missed, something human. He looked down at his shaking hands, then back up at Maya. Why are you here? She shrugged. Call it a hunch. I was in the area, saw the lights, the panic, thought maybe someone needed help. You don't even know me, Evan said softly. True, Maya replied, but I know what it looks like when someone's drowning. And I don't like watching people drown. Silence filled the room again, broken only by the distant hum of drones outside. Evan felt the weight on his chest lighten, just a little. For the first time in days, maybe weeks, he wasn't completely alone. He didn't trust her. Not fully, but some part of him wanted to. Evan stared at her across the table, confused by her calmness. The room was still humming with broken screens and cruel messages, yet Maya sat there like it was just another night. People, Evan repeated, his voice sharp. You don't understand. They're not like you or me. They don't care about rules or lives. They hide behind machines. They're shadows. Maya leaned forward, resting her elbows on the table. Shadows still need light to exist. And people always leave a trace. A look, a sound, a mistake. They can't help it. Evan shook his head. You think you can outsmart the ghost net by reading their expressions through a screen? That's insane. She smiled faintly, chewing another bite of pizza. Not insane, practical. You think machines are perfect, but they aren't. They're only as clever as the people behind them. And I've spent my life watching people. I can hear a lie in their voice, see fear in their shoulders, spot pride in their words. That's my code. Evan wanted to dismiss her, to laugh at the absurdity, but something gnawed at him. She had spotted the fake drone. She had noticed things he, a trained programmer, had missed. Before he could answer, a new sound rattled the window, a sharp metallic buzz. Both of them froze. Evan's heart sank. Another drone. The voice that followed was crisp, authoritative. Citizen Evan Carter, you're under investigation for cybercrimes against the state. Open your door immediately. Evan's breath caught. He grabbed Maya's arm, pulling her down beside him. They found me, he whispered, panic rising. Maya frowned, listening carefully to the voice. Then she whispered back, Wait, don't open it. They'll break the door, Evan hissed. No, Maya said firmly. Listen. The voice repeated the command. This time Evan noticed it too. Something strange. The words were too even, too polished. No static, no distortion from the drone's cheap speakers. That's not real, Maya said, her eyes sharp. They want you to panic. Evan blinked. His pulse was racing, but her certainty cut through the fog of fear. She crept to the window and peeked out just enough to see. One drone hovered in the dark, lights flashing, but its body was wrong. Sleeker, mismatched plating, not regulation at all. Fake, she confirmed. Just like I said. Evan slumped back, staring at her. His mind reeled. He had almost walked into the trap without question. He, the expert on systems and patterns, had been blind. But Maya, she had seen through it instantly. He swallowed hard. How did you know? Because real cops don't talk like that, she said. They sound bored, tired, human, that voice. Too clean, too careful. Whoever programmed it wanted you to believe it was perfect. She smirked. But perfection isn't real. For the first time in days, maybe longer, Evan felt something crack through the wall of despair. A spark. She wasn't a hacker. She wasn't a coder. But she had a skill none of them had. She could see the human flaws hiding behind the machines. Evan's voice was quiet when he finally spoke. You're not like anyone I've met, Maya shrugged. You've been looking in the wrong places. You keep staring at screens waiting for answers, but the answers are written on people's faces. Outside, the drone drifted away, its trick failed. The room settled back into silence. Evan leaned forward, his hands still shaking, but now with something more than fear. A question formed in his mind, heavy and dangerous. If Maya could spot lies the machines created, maybe together, they could turn those lies back against the ghost net. He didn't dare say it out loud yet. But in the shadows of his ruined apartment, Evan felt the first flicker of hope. The ghost net had stolen everything. But they had not planned for this. A girl with no code. A girl who could read people, and maybe, just maybe, a chance to fight back. The night stretched long, but Evan could not sleep. His mind churned with static, fragments of loss and the strange calmness of the girl who had dropped into his ruined life. Maya had settled on the couch, feet propped up on the empty pizza box, as if danger itself had decided to take a break. But danger never rests. Near dawn, Every screen in the apartment lit up at once. No alarms, no static, just a single chilling symbol, a ghostly mask made of shifting white code floating on black. Maya sat up instantly, her eyes narrowing. Evan's stomach turned to ice. He knew that symbol. Everyone did. The ghost net. The mask moved, pixels reshaping into a face that was not a face. A smooth voice filled the room, cold and deliberate. "Evan Carter," it said, "you are still alive, curious. We took your money. We erased your files. Yet here you sit, clinging to scraps of existence." Evan clenched his fists. "What do you want from me?" The voice chuckled softly. "We want nothing. We only remove obstacles. You built walls, Evan, walls to keep us out. For that you must vanish." The screens shifted, showing images of Evan's ID card, his bank profile, even a photo of him as a child. Each one began to blur, then dissolve into static. "In 24 hours, the voice said, you will cease to exist. Your records, your biometrics, your history. No system will recognize you. You will be a ghost, just like us." Maya stood, her jaw tight. Why announce it? Why not just do it? The voice paused, as if noticing her for the first time. Then it laughed. "Because fear is the seasoning. We enjoy watching him squirm. And who are you, little stranger, to stand in our theater?" Maya smirked, though her eyes were cold. "Someone who doesn't scare easy." The mask flickered as though irritated, then leaned closer. "Evan Carter. 24 hours. After that you are nothing. Run, fight, beg, it changes nothing." The screens all went black at once. Silence followed. Evan dropped into his chair, head in his hands. "It's over. They've given me a death sentence." Maya stepped beside him. "No, they've given you a deadline." He looked up, his eyes hollow. "You don't understand. Once they erase me, I can't even buy food. Can't walk past a scanner. They'll be invisible." Maya crouched in front of him, meeting his broken gaze. "Invisible doesn't mean powerless. They think they've already won. That's their weakness." Evan shook his head violently. "You don't know these people. They don't make mistakes. They don't—" "Yes, they do," Maya cut him off. "They just made one right now. They talk too much. They showed off. That means they care about how you feel, not just what you do. That's human." Her words struck him harder than he expected. For weeks, Evan had thought of the ghost net as machines, cold and perfect. But Maya was right. Behind the mask were people. People who could be baited, tricked, defeated. Still, fear clung to him. "Even if you're right, what difference does it make? I can't fight them alone." Maya stood, straightening her cap. "Then don't fight alone. You've got me." Evan stared at her. This girl, a stranger, claiming she could stand against the most feared hackers in the city. It sounded insane, but the memory of the fake drone lingered. If she hadn't been there, he would already be in chains. Maybe insane was exactly what he needed. Maya's eyes softened just slightly. "They think like machines. That's why they'll lose. You need someone who thinks like a person." "That's me." Evan swallowed hard. He wanted to believe. But believing meant stepping back into the fight. It meant risking more pain, more loss. Yet deep inside, a spark flickered again. Maybe the ghost net wasn't untouchable. Maybe with her help, he could finally hit back. The sun rose weakly over the neon city, painting the skyline in dull gray. Evan hadn't moved from his chair all night. His eyes were red, his face hollow, but a strange energy pulsed inside him. A mix of fear and something else. Something he hadn't felt in weeks. Possibility, Maya stretched, yawning like she'd actually slept. She tossed the empty pizza box into a corner and pulled her cap low over her eyes. "So, you've got 24 hours before they turn you into a ghost. What's the move?" Evan rubbed his temples. "I don't know. Running won't work. Hiding won't work. They'll find me anywhere. They don't stop." "Good," Maya said, leaning against the wall. "Then we don't run. We make them come to us." Evan looked up sharply. "What? You told me what they took. Money, files, your identity. But you didn't tell me what they want. Nobody does something like this without wanting something." Evan hesitated, then pulled a cracked tablet from under a pile of broken devices. Its screen flickered weakly as he tapped it. "This, my firewall project." It wasn't just security, it was independence. A system no hacker could ever break, no government could control. If I'd finished it, GhostNet would have been locked out forever. Maya's eyes narrowed. So they want it gone because it scares them. Exactly, Evan said, bitter. They destroyed every file, every backup. Not every backup, Maya said confidently. You're too smart not to have hidden a copy somewhere. Evan froze. For a moment his face gave everything away. Maya smirked. There it is. You tell, he exhaled slowly. There's one fragment left. Buried in a dead server in the Undercity, but it's useless without the rest of the code. And if I go after it, they'll know. Then we don't just go after it, Maya said. We use it to bait them, Evan blinked. You want to lure GhostNet? She nodded. They've been treating you like prey. Flip the game. Dangle what they want most, the last piece of your work, and make them move. People show their true selves when they think they're about to win. Evan leaned back, shaking his head. That's suicide. They'll come in force. They'll show their faces, Maya interrupted. Not literally. But pieces of them. Egos, pride, fear of losing. You fight them in code, I'll fight them in people. Between us we make a trap they won't see coming. Her confidence unsettled him, but it also pulled at something deep inside. For weeks he'd been paralyzed, waiting for the end. Now for the first time someone was talking about hitting back. Still, doubt clung to him. Even if we try, we need allies, hardware, safe ground. I can't build anything in this apartment. It's already compromised. Maya grinned. Then we go where cameras don't work, where GhostNet doesn't bother looking. The Undercity, Evan frowned. The Undercity? That place is chaos. Exactly, Maya said. Chaos is human. That's why GhostNet avoids it. But I know people there, folks who don't like being treated like numbers. We'll find what you need. Evan studied her. She was serious. Completely serious. A streetwise pizza girl talking about waging war on the deadliest hacker syndicate alive. And somehow, he believed her. He closed his eyes, exhaled, then opened them again. All right. We'll try it your way. But if we're doing this, we need a real plan. Maya's grin widened. That's the spirit. You handle the code. I'll handle the people. Together we'll make GhostNet bleed. Evan shivered at her words. Not out of fear, but anticipation. For the first time in months, he wasn't waiting to be destroyed. He was planning to fight back. And the countdown had already begun. Evan followed Maya through the twisting arteries of the city, away from glass towers and into the veins below. The streets grew narrower, the neon weaker, until even the light seemed afraid to reach this far down. The Undercity. A place where the city's waste wires and forgotten people tangled together. Down here no one asked names, and most faces hid behind masks. Evan kept his hood up, eyes darting nervously. This place is a graveyard, Maya smirked, weaving past graffiti-scarred walls and rusting stairways. Graveyards are quiet. This is alive. Just not the way you're used to. They passed merchants selling hacked chips, scavengers picking through broken drones, and kids racing half-built scooters through flooded alleys. It was chaotic, dangerous, but GhostNet's eye didn't reach here. Cameras were blind. Networks were fractured. Finally, Maya stopped before a heavy steel door marked with peeling paint. She knocked 3 times, paused, then twice more. Bolts screeched as the door cracked open, revealing a broad man with cybernetic arms and a wary glare. Maya, he said, voice like gravel. You bring trouble again? Always, she replied easily. But this time it pays. The man's eyes flicked to Evan, then back. Who's the ghost? Nobody yet, Maya said. But unless we move fast, he will be. Reluctantly, the man let them inside. The room beyond was a workshop, lit by flickering lamps, stacked with old servers and tools scavenged from the upper city's trash. The hum of machines filled the air, low and steady like a heartbeat. Evan stared. You know people down here? Maya shrugged. I deliver pizza everywhere. You'd be surprised what doors open when you show up with hot food and no questions. Evan almost laughed, despite himself. The absurdity of it. His life ruined by elite hackers, and his only ally was a girl who treated cybercriminals like regular customers. The cybernetic man grunted. Name's Rook. I keep old tech breathing. If Maya says you're worth the risk, I'll give you one shot. Evan nodded stiffly. I need access to an offline rig, something strong enough to rebuild fragments of lost code, and secure enough GhostNet won't sniff it out. Rook's brow rose. Are you asking for miracles? Not miracles, Evan said quietly. Just a chance. Maya leaned against the wall, arms crossed. We've got bait. We've got brains. What we need now is a stage. Somewhere GhostNet thinks they're the hunters. Rook scratched his chin, then motioned to a far corner where a dormant server rack stood, dust thick on its casing. That old beast hasn't been touched in years. No network, no signal. You wake it, it's a tomb with teeth. Evan approached, his fingers brushing the cold metal. He could almost hear the hum it used to make, back when it belonged to the city's first data grid. A relic, forgotten, perfect. For the first time in weeks, his hands itched with purpose. He could build here, he could fight here, but deep down fear coiled still. GhostNet had promised to erase him in less than a day. If they failed, he was gone. Maya's voice broke his spiral. Don't think about the deadline. Think about the trap. They've been playing gods. Time to remind them they bleed. Evan looked at her, at the unshakable spark in her eyes. Somehow she believed, and for the first time he almost did too. The city above hummed with neon and noise, but deep in the undercity, silence hung heavy. The trap had been set. Evan sat before the old server, fingers flying across the keyboard. His code pulsed across dead circuits brought back to life. Beside him, Maya stood with arms crossed, her eyes never leaving the screens. On cue, the mask appeared. Spectre, the face of GhostNet, his digital grin stretched wide. So predictable, Evan Carter, waving your scraps of code, begging us to come. Did you think we wouldn't see through it? Maya leaned closer to the microphone, her voice steady. Oh, we wanted you to see through it. Spectre's eyes narrowed. For the first time, his voice faltered. Evan executed the final line. The trap unfolded. The server wasn't just bait, it was a mirror. Every signal GhostNet pushed into it bounced back, tangled in loops that exposed their hidden connections. Evan's code, sharpened by desperation, didn't fight their firewalls, for it peeled away their masks. And Maya, watching the small slips in Spectre's tone, the hesitation in his threats, guided Evan's strikes like a sniper spotting targets. He's panicking. Push harder left now. On screen, the ghostly mask cracked. A real face flickered beneath, tired eyes, scarred cheeks, human. Very human. No, Spectre snarled, his arrogance breaking. This isn't possible. Evan's final command ripped the network wide open. Names, locations, accounts. GhostNet's shadow empire spilled into the light. Rook and his crew streamed the data across pirate feeds, broadcasting to the whole city. The myth of GhostNet shattered in minutes, and for the first time in years the people cheered. The screens went dark. Evan sat back, chest heaving, sweat dripping from his brow. Maya placed a hand on his shoulder. Told you. Machines fall. People fall harder. Evan looked at her, eyes wet but burning with new fire. I had every skill in the world. Except yours. Maya smirked, tossing her cap back on. Guess that makes us partners. For a moment, peace filled the room. The city roared above, but here in the shadows, something new had been born. Then a faint glow flickered on the edge of the last screen. A message simple but chilling. Spectre was only one of many. Evan and Maya exchanged a glance. The war wasn't over, but for the first time they weren't afraid. The Undercity workshop was quiet, save for the hum of dying servers and the faint drip of water through rusted pipes. Evan leaned back in his chair, exhausted. His body screamed for rest, but his mind refused to settle. On the cracked monitor, the last message still glowed. Spectre was only one of many. Maya paced the room, restless energy radiating from her. So, we cut off one head, and now we find out the beast has a dozen more. Rook slammed a fist against a metal table, the clang echoing like a warning bell. GhostNet isn't gone. You just drew first blood. That means they'll be coming harder, faster, and they'll want revenge. Evan rubbed his eyes. We exposed them. Their secrets are out. People saw their faces, their accounts, their ties. That has to weaken them. It does, Rook admitted, but weakness makes predators more dangerous. Cornered animals bite deepest. Maya stopped pacing, her gaze landing on Evan. Then we don't wait. If they're many, we make ourselves many. You can build code. I can find people. Rook knows where the cracks in this city are. She jabbed a finger toward the glowing words. They wanted to erase you, Evan. Instead, you became the first threat they couldn't silence. That matters. Evan felt the weight of it sink in. He hadn't just survived, he'd started something. A ripple. And ripples, given enough time, became waves. He glanced at Maya. She stood firm, fearless, a spark in the dark. Rook was already pulling wires, muttering about reinforcement and firewalls. Against all odds, he wasn't alone anymore. Still, his chest tightened. GhostNet wasn't dead. They were watching somewhere out there in the endless dark of cyberspace, regrouping. And when they came back, they would come with everything. Evan typed one last line of code, saving the fractured system they had patched together. Then he whispered to himself, almost a vow, "If they're the net, then we'll be the knife that cuts it." Maya grinned. Now that's the spirit. Far above, the city's neon lights shimmered like stars trapped in glass. The world believed GhostNet was broken. But down here in the shadows, 3 unlikely allies knew the truth. This wasn't the end, it was only the beginning of war.